the age that both of us are now, to be able to talk about that together and know the experience that we went through. And it's just, you know, we just often say to one another, like, we're one of the lucky ones, really.
I was an ARP messenger in my spare time. When the bomb dropped in the streets, it dislocated, all the lines, telephone lines blew up, gas mains caught fire. So we had to have us young boys on bicycles to go between wardens' posts, hospitals, and it was just a part-time job.
I used to do a lot of cabaret work, going round to schools. We done soldiers at one time. We used to be what they called the Enser, and that was to entertain, like, at their barracks. We just used to go round singing to them in their bunk beds, you know, they were in the bunk beds. And we used to sing the old-fashioned songs like Lambeth Walk and all that, you know, yeah, just to keep their morales up. It was a Saturday morning, and my sister, my mother, we all roused ourselves to do our shopping. We wasn't expecting really anything that day. And yes, we just got washed and dressed, and my sister and I put a bit of powder paint on, because that's how we were, you know, in them days. Bit of powder, a bit of lipstick, and off we went. My mother said, I'm just going across the road. She said to, like, my sister and I, you just wait here over on this side and I'll come back to you. Everyone's just walking around and they're all doing their own things. There's like the fish shop and wet fish. There's a greengrocer's with all their lovely, you know, vegetables out the front. And everything was going accordingly to a Saturday morning.
But on that particular morning, there was a raid on in London, and I was out on my bike looking after the air raid shelters, keeping sure everybody was okay, and carrying my gas rattle with me just in case they dropped a gas bomb. And suddenly, a plane that was flying down the railway line, watching the railway line, dropped a stick of 5 bombs. And as they fell, so we counted them. I mean, that was the automatic thing we'd done. And after 4 had landed on the Finsbury Park station, it actually hit a train staying on the bridge. The 5th one dropped quite nearby.
We looked up into the sky and we could see all the planes way, way up. They looked like little toys. And we both said, you know, oh, look at them, like they're up there. And then it seemed, in that split second, all of a sudden there was this plane that swooped down so low and machine gun as he came along the high street. There was terrible panics, and everybody was shouting and screaming, and there was glass being broken, you know, with the blast, and we were standing near a butcher shop, and this butcher man said, "Come inside, you know, you girls come inside. We're worried about where Mum is." So we're saying like, "Well, where's my mum? You know, we've got to find my mum." He said, "Don't worry about that, she'll be all right. You come and lay down." So we all had to lay down on the floor, you see.
I remember all the screaming and shouting that was going on at the time, where the people were still looking for each other as I went down. And this was about 5 minutes after his machine gun. It was a question of they were looking for their loved ones who were missing. People running across, backwards and forwards across the road, screaming and shouting, looking for the ones that are there. Glass windows being cleaned up, you know, glass being swept up off the pavements. And I was more intent on finding out where he was coming down.
We were smothered in that, you know, sawdust that they used to lay down when we got up. We all brushed ourselves down and we all said, "Thank you very much," you know, and brushed ourselves down. And then, as I say, well, I just wanted to look to see where my mother was, see. And so we both got up and I said, "You okay, Betty?" She said, "Yeah, frightening, wasn't it?"
The plane itself crashed on the roof of a timber yard, not far away in South Tottenham, and he came floating down in a parachute. And I started pedalling, watching where he was coming down, picked up a policeman also on a bike at the same time, and we were searching for him, and we realised he was going to land in the recreation ground. When we got there, he was standing in the middle of the ground with his hands up in the air, and there was about 50 women fighting for his parachute silk. And of course the parachute is some of the finest silk you can have, especially German ones, and they were making underwear out of them, really. And they were all screaming, tearing it up in panels.
One chap, he had gone to the toilets. They had toilets just by under the archway, an arch, and he had put his bike there to go to the toilet. Well, they found the bike, but they never found him. And then there was another chap. He was looking out the window, like just standing there looking at, and the blast from the glass, he had his eye taken out when it took, you know, his eye out, young fella. And then you heard of all people afterwards having all cuts and that where, you know, they didn't get cover quick enough and pieces of the glass hit their legs and, you know.
I was introduced into the house, and there was this lovely 17-year-old young lady who was opening in pantomime on Boxing Day at the London Theatre in Dick Whittington. So I chanced my arm and asked if I could take her to the theatre, which she agreed I could. On the Boxing Day, I went round to her house, and it was a real London pea soup, a thick smog. Found she'd already gone. So I made my way up to the theatre in Stoke Newington, went round to the stage door, saw the stage doorkeeper. Oh, he said, yes. Gladys said that might be a sailor coming asking for her.
Well, I didn't even know Alec. And now that is so strange that when I told my story to Alec, and then he told me that he remembers that day, it's something that, as I say, Alec done, I done, but we didn't know one another at that time, but we both done this together. And that is incredible, really, you know, isn't it? That we done it together, yeah. To be able to, like, the age that both of us are now, to be able to talk about that together and know the experience that we went through. And it's just, you know, we just often say to one another, like, we're one of the lucky ones, really. We are still here, and it's still the same today as it was when you put the ring on my finger. Yes, yeah. Yeah, it's just lovely. We're very lucky.
You've made me so happy all these years,
Right.
and I hope it's going to carry on for a lot longer.
Well, I've said the same to you, haven't I?
Yes,
You've
yeah.
always provided for me, and you've always been there for me, and that is everything, yeah.